Good morning. It's now 11 o'clock a.m. I'll go ahead and start the webinar. My name is Corey Gaddy, Application Engineer for TPM, specializing in Bluebeam as well as Autodesk Civil 3D. This morning, we're going to do a quick webinar here about quantities takeoffs and measurements in Bluebeam Revu. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to enter them in the chat. If you need to actually audibly ask something, you can put it in the chat, and then I'll unmute you, and you can speak. All right. So what you should see here on my screen is the Bluebeam Revu interface. This is the 2018 version of the product. I am using the Extreme version. It's going to be pretty similar no matter what version you're using. It's just a limited functionality on some of the items interface. All right, so what we're going to do this morning is we're going to talk about some custom markups for quantities. We're going to look at doing a couple areas for measurements, and then we'll look at counting a few items based upon a visual search. And as we count those items, we will use custom columns to assign values to those items, and then use those values to do cost estimation quantities takeoffs. We'll do a variety of different items here so that no matter what industry you're in, hopefully you can see yourself using the workflow and the process along the way. All right, so the first thing I want to do is we're going to look at doing an area. And so area can be found a couple ways on the Extreme, the Bluebeam Revu interface. Like I said, this is the Extreme version. All right. One way it's found over in Measure. Okay, so there's your area tool found in Measure. Depending on your profile, which for me, I'm working in the Revu Advanced profile, you can also find that measurement up here on the toolbar. There's area. So we're going to go ahead and do an area measurement first. For this workflow, we may be trying to calculate, say, the amount of concrete in the foundation of this building. So we'll start by just doing an area around this building. So just line work here. This is a vector dock here, so it's actually snapping to the corners of the building. It's a nice clean document. And we're just going to surround this building with an area. Okay. I'm going to look for concrete for the foundation. So instead of getting this paver area here, I'm going to go ahead and cut through it. So I'm just kind of slicing that out. I'll come back and do the paver area later. Okay, so now we're at the front of the building. That gets us back to the start, so I'll go ahead and hit enter now. All right, there's my area, 24,878 square feet. It shows up down in my markups list as well. So if I look at my area, down here it's 24,878 feet here. All right, so that's the area of the foundation. I'm going to come back now while we're doing area, and then just go ahead and look at the area of that paver section that I cut out. So I'm going to do another area measurement here. I'm still inside of the command, so you can see how I can just keep clicking. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this little area. All right, just sort of surround that area with a line. I'm just going to follow the line work from the other one, and then I'll go ahead and at the end of it, hit enter. All right, so now we have that paver area. It has 1,965 square feet on that area for the pavers. It also shows up in my markups list down here, 1,965 there for area. All right, so right now we've got the area of the building, the area of that paver section. All right, at this time we could go ahead and assign a material to it, but I'm going to wait and do that to the end. I'm going to get a couple other calculations here along the way before I do that. All right, so for the next thing we're going to look at here, all right, we're going to kind of continue along the building sort of aspect of it. And we're going to look at trying to find these columns here. So for this workflow, we're going to say these are concrete columns, okay? And we're going to use a visual search to find those columns. All right, so I'm going to pick one in the area that's a reliable area here. So let's see if I can look at this one. And for this one, we're going to do a visual search. And what the program's going to do is just going to detect this symbol. So everywhere this line work shows up, okay, the program is going to detect that line work, and it's going to create a search for that line work and show me all the instances where that line work shows up. All right, and the way we're going to do that, we click on this guy, the magnifying glass over here for visual search. Okay, I'm going to create a rectangle around that area. So I'll click Get Rectangle. But I also want to look at my sensitivity, because this is going to determine how the program searches for that symbol. So how detailed of a search it's going to conduct. So I'm going to get here right below the halfway point here, and we'll do a search, and we'll see how many items it picks up. If I need to change that search in terms of its sensitivity, I can do that going forward. So I'm right here below halfway, and then I'll click on Get Rectangle. I'm going to surround that item with a rectangle. Okay. So now there's the item. I have a preview of the item here. Okay. And now I can do a search for that item. So I'll go ahead and do a search. And now it's populating my results. It's going through the process here of looking for instances of that item. Okay, we're up to 100% on that search. And now it's showing that it found 50 of that item, 50 results. Okay, if I click on one of them, I can see where it was found. And those items show up over here in this list on the left side over here. Okay. All right, now that I've found them, I can actually count them in terms of how many of them there are. But before I do that, I want to quickly show you how to customize a count item so that we can determine what we're counting. All right, so if we look over here in our tool chest, there's our tool chest. Okay, I actually want to do a count measurement. Okay, so what I'm looking for is to put a check mark or something similar in order to mark this item and to indicate that that item was found. So under general measurements, which this one is found in my Bluebeam Revu profile or Revu Advanced, that is a profile available out of the box for the product. Okay, the count measurement is actually available in here over under general measurements. So I'm just going to place one of these count measurements into the doc. Okay, go ahead and place one here. I'm just going to place it anywhere. Okay, and so now that it's in the document, I can click on it. Okay, I can right click and go to Properties. All right, and then when I look at the properties of it, it shows me the color, the subject, the label, the symbol that's coming in, so forth. All right. So for this one, now I'm just going to quickly show you how to customize this one. So if I didn't like the color, I can go ahead and make it another color, like red. If I didn't like the symbol, I can go ahead and make it something else, like a triangle or a square. Okay, I can change the subject. Like for this one, we may want the subject to be columns. Okay, and then we can call it a concrete column. All right. And so now anytime I use this measurement going forward, which in order to use it going forward, you would want to add it to your tool chest here. Okay. If you're doing quantities on a regular basis, you may want to create a custom tool set, which is found under your tool chest So here's your tool chest. You may want to create a custom tool set under here called Quantities Takeoffs or Quantities. In order to do that, you'll go to the tool chest and you'll click on Manage Tool Sets. Okay, we can add a new tool set here. We'll call it maybe Cost Estimation. Okay. It's going to ask me where I want to save it. So I can save it in a location here. Let me just put it in my General My Docs real quick. Okay, and as you do that, it populates here. You hit OK. And then now you can add this markup to that cost estimation. So I'll right click on it, add to tool chest, and I'll do cost estimation. All right. I'll hit yes here. It's asking me about a lock on my tool set. And then now it adds it to the tool set. So if I want to use that going forward, now I can just click on it. And I could just manually mark that column. Okay. So just quickly how to create a custom markup and add it to the tool set, okay, in your tool chest, and how to create a custom tool set. Okay. So I'm not going to go through and create a bunch of markups for everything we're going to do here and add them to that custom tool set. I've actually already created a custom tool set called Cost Estimation. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is show you how to import, to export and import a tool set. So for this one, I have this tool set called Cost Estimation. And if I go here, I can save it. Okay. And then I could also export it. So I just export it to a location where I want it to be. So it's telling me I need to save it, which I did, but I'll go ahead and hit OK. And I'm just going to pop it there. It's fine, because I'm not going to bring it in from there because I already have one that I need. But that's how you would save it. And then you would go back and you would export it here. Okay. All right. So we can export it to that location. So it's kind of doing both of them at the same time, saving and exporting it here to desktop. So that previous step accomplished that. So there it is, cost estimation. All right, so I have a custom tool set already called cost estimation. So instead of using that one, I'm just going to go ahead and bring in the one that I created already so that we can go further along in the process for actually doing the cost estimation. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this one so that I can bring in the custom one that I wanted. So in order to delete one, I'll go to Tool Chest, Manage Tool Sets, and then I can delete it. So there it is. I hit the red X, okay, and that will delete that tool set. All right, so it goes away. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in the custom one that I made. But first, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these markups that I made using that markup, because I'll have custom markups coming in with the tool set, and I'll want to use those. All right, so I just deleted them from the markups list. Okay, I could have went to the plan itself, clicked on my little select tool here. I could have highlighted them and then deleted them that way. But by deleting them through the markups list, guarantees that I got all of them. All right, so let's go ahead and import our tool set from the tool chest. We'll go to Manage Tools, Manage Tool Sets here. Okay, so now instead of exporting like I did earlier, I can also import. So I'll just go ahead and import a tool set. Okay. I have this tool set saved for this particular webinar. So I need to find that folder. It's under Bluebeam, for demo docs, construction webinar. So there's my cost estimation tool set that I exported before the webinar, and I can go ahead and bring that in. Okay, it's telling me I have the tool set already because I kind of went through that exercise for creating a tool set called cost estimation. I'm just going to go ahead and overwrite that one. Okay, so there it is. It's in there. I'll go ahead and hit OK. And what you'll notice is that I have a couple custom markups here for measurements. bathroom sink, we're going to go through that one. Tubs, stand-up shower, a toilet, the concrete column, and then some light fixtures. Okay, so that was created previously. I created these custom markups as I showed you earlier, the process for creating them, and then I exported the tool set, and then I just imported it. All right, so those columns, we can go back to our visual search. Okay, they're still there. Okay, I haven't done anything with them yet, but they're there. It's 50 of them. So now I'll hit this box here to select all of them. Okay, so I've selected all of them. And then now to verify which ones were actually found and to make sure that I have all the columns that I'm looking for in this doc, I'll go ahead and apply a count measurement. Okay, in order to do that, I'll click here on this guy. Okay, apply a count measurement to checked. Okay, and then under my custom tool set, cost estimation, I can click on this column one. Okay, it's gonna be a concrete column. All right, so it's marked them. Okay, I can verify which ones were marked. Go through and make sure the program actually found all of them. So I'm just looking for that symbol throughout the document here. Okay, so you can see it pretty much picked up all of them. I don't see any that were missing. Okay, so it's 50 of them here. It picked up all of them. All right, and so now that I have them all selected and picked up, okay, they show up over here in my markups list. It's 50 of them. Okay, because I created that custom markup, okay, I have certain properties associated with it. So I can click on it here, right click, look at the properties. Okay, it's 50 of them. All right, I have a subject called columns. I've labeled it concrete column to be specific. Okay, all right, so that was a custom markup with a custom subject here, columns and concrete column. And then I actually, under my markups list, I actually have custom columns in terms of my markups list here. I've created custom columns there as well. All right, in order to look at those custom columns, I can go to columns, manage columns. I'll click there. And then here are my custom columns here. So I'm gonna click on custom columns. And I made a column called material. Okay, this material column is under the format choice, and I'll show you what that does. So I'll go ahead and look at modifying that material custom column. Okay, so here are the custom columns available, or custom materials available under the column material. I have different types of flooring, hardwood, tile, concrete, carpet. Okay, I also have some landscaping items available. Okay, I have those bathroom items available that we'll look at. Okay, those brick pavers up front. So these are all created under this custom column called material. Okay, so to create a new one, I go to add here, give it a title, give it a subject. The subject is important. You want to make sure you keep account as to what that subject is, and then I can assign a numeric value to it. Okay, and that'll be the price of the item. So depending on what it is, if it's an area tool, then it'll be per square foot. If it was a count measurement tool, then it would be per item. But that's where I would assign that numeric value here. So that's what I did for these items. Okay, I created a custom material, gave it a value, gave it a subject, and now it's there available for me. Okay, so these are the items available. Okay, the one we just looked at was columns, so we'll want to make sure that our subject is columns. Okay, so that subject allows you to access this material list here and this material in that list. All right. Okay, so we have these items available. I just want to show you how to create them. And we'll go ahead and cancel. I just want to make sure that my column section says columns. Okay. So here's my count for columns. Okay, if I scroll over and look at my subject, it is columns, and that's because my tool that I used, I had it customized to where the subject was already labeled as columns. Okay, so there's my subject columns, and because it has the subject columns, then now when I go over to my materials in my custom column of my markups list, okay, I should be able to double click here and find a concrete column. So I'll click there on concrete. All right, and based upon the price that I gave it and the fact that it's 50 of them, now it's showing I have $10,000 in concrete columns here from my subtotal. All right, so the program, based upon how many it was found and the price I gave it, it automatically generated 10,000. Okay, price for the concrete columns. All right, so like the columns, I could go through and search for other items. Okay, for instance, if I wanted to look at maybe these electrical fixtures here, these light fixtures, I could also do an image search for those. So I'll go back here to search, get rectangle. Okay. All right. Then I'll search for that fixture. Because I've done this before, I know my sensitivity probably needs to be a little bit lower in order to find all of these. But like I said, you can search for them. If it doesn't find the ones you want, you'll come back, you'll change your level of sensitivity, and that will allow it to pick up more or less of the items. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and click get rectangle. We'll see how many items it finds. If it doesn't find all the ones I want, I'll go back and I'll adjust my level of sensitivity. Okay. So here's the preview of what it found. Okay. I'll go ahead and hit search. We'll see if it picks up all of them. All right, it's doing the same thing. It's showing me my progress. It's looking for the items throughout the drawing. And basically what it's doing is just searching for that line work, for that fixture throughout the drawing. All right, I had current doc selected. Okay, so that's going to look for every sheet in this doc. Okay, I could do certain pages, like the current page. All right, I can search through all open docs if I have multiple documents open. Okay, so it gives you a variety of ways to search for that item. Okay, it's showing me that it found 37 results here. Okay, and likewise, if I click on one, it'll take me to it. Okay, and like I did for the column, I'm gonna go ahead and apply a count measurement to this item so that I can verify how many of that item was detected. Okay, so I'll select all of them. Okay, then I'll click here on check options. And then I'll apply a count measurement. This time we're going to use light fixtures. So there's my custom count measurement light fixtures under my custom tool set, cost estimation. I'll click here. Okay. We'll zoom out, see how many it found. Okay. All right. See, it sort of missed those two. All right. I found these. Okay. All right. So it's missing a couple of them. Okay. So then I can change my level of sensitivity again. I'm going to go ahead and delete the count measurement for those so I can do it over once I actually change my level of sensitivity here. So I'm going to drop it a little bit further and do a get rectangle. Okay. Go ahead and surround the item. Okay, search. Found 37 before, so let's see if it finds more than 37 this time. Okay, searching for the item again. Populating my search. Show me my percentage of progress there. Okay, it's going through the process, looking for them. It's taking slightly longer this time, which is a good sign. It probably means it's finding more of them. All right. And we're 85%, so Now it's coming through, and we'll see how many items it finds. Okay, we'll put 100% in that little bit of time that I was speaking. Now it's showing 87 of them. So now we can select all. Okay, apply account measurement for light fixtures. All right. So I found the ones on the other side as well. Now you'll notice that certain ones like this one, okay, didn't find, but that's a smaller symbol. It's probably a different fixture type anyway. Okay, you can see the size of this one versus that one. So just by sheer size, it's probably not the same fixture. So that's probably a good thing. It didn't find this one either. Same thing, it's a different size. Okay, so it's probably not the same fixture. Okay, it did find them in multiple orientations. So, you know, where they were horizontal to the left or the right, it found them. Okay, all right. So there are all the fixtures it found, 87 of them. They show up down here in my markups list. Okay, they're light fixtures. It was a custom markup that I made. Okay, so if I look at its properties, so I'm just going to right click. You can either right click or you can click on the cogwheel here to see properties. Okay, okay, it's coming up as area measurement as the subject. That's not going to be good because if I look at my custom columns here, I need my column for my light fixtures. So here's my materials I'm going to modify. I need my light fixtures to show up as light fixtures for the subject there. So I need to change that to read light fixtures. Okay. So I'll go back here, look at that markup, look at its properties. I'm going to change that to light fixtures. And it has an S on it, so make it light fixtures. And then when I look over here in my markups list, light fixtures is what we want. So now I should be able to click on the material. Okay, and now I can find light. So there it is available for me under the materials, light. Okay, based upon the unit cost that I gave it, it's showing me that I have $3,045 of cost for light fixtures. Okay, I can do that for various other items. We can look at the sink here. So I'll go ahead and do a search on the sink. So if we were MEP, specifically plumbing, maybe we want to figure out the cost of the sinks in this building. So I do a get rectangle. I'm going to change my sensitivity a little bit there. Okay, do a get rectangle. And then I'll surround the sink. All right, do a search. Okay, let's find the results for that sink. Just looking through the line work, detecting where that sink was found. Okay, for the sink now, it shows 38. Likewise, I'll select all of them. Okay, I'll do a check option there, apply account measurement. I have sink available here as a custom count measurement. So I'll click on sink. It pops in the check mark for them. Okay, here are all the sinks that were found. I can go throughout the building and make sure that it found all of the sinks, which it looks like it generally did. It located all of the sinks that were there on the building. And so now that sink shows up, those sink counter or count measurements show up down here in my markups, and then I can apply a material to them as long as they have the right subject. And so I can check that by looking at the subject. It's showing up as light fixtures, so I'm going to have to make that bathroom. Okay. And then the type should be sink. Okay. So there it is. It's got a label sink. It's got a subject of bathroom. Okay. So then I'll go ahead and go to material. Double click there on the materials, and now I can make it a sink. $5,700 cost for the amount of sinks that we have in this building, which were 38. Okay. All right. Likewise, I'll just do a couple more here. We can look at the toilet there. We'll do a search for that. Get rectangle on the toilet. I'll go ahead and search. Okay. We'll look at the area of the building as well here in a second. I'll show you how to manipulate a measurement like the area measurement to generate cost. Okay. We have two more items, actually three more items I want to do here before we look at the area measurement. So there's my toilet. Select all, apply account measurement. We're in the bathroom under toilet. Okay, I'll verify it has the right subject. Bathroom, toilet, so that one came in correctly. All right, let's see how many it found. Okay, so every bathroom here with the toilet in it, it located that toilet. You can see my markups have different colors, so you can sort of distinguish between which items we're actually locating here. Okay, so there are all your toilets. It's 38 of them as well. Okay, has the right subject, so I should be able to find the right material. There's toilet, and I have 11,400 for my toilets. I'll go ahead and do the bathtubs really quick, and I'll look at that stand-up shower, and then we'll look at the area as well. So we'll do a search here. Get rectangle on my tub, and let's see, I want to make sure I got a good tub here. All right, let's see if I can use this symbol here. Let's just start on the inside. I'll search. Okay, it's looking for the tub. Okay. All right. All right, it shows 32 of them. Okay. I'll select all of them, apply account measurement again, and this time I'll use tubs from the bathroom subject. There they are. Okay, same thing. I would want to verify that it found all of the tubs. Looks like it missed that one and that one. Okay, so I could change my level of sensitivity to make sure that I capture that one. Okay, I won't go through that, but we just have to change our level of sensitivity there, make sure it picked up those. I mean, I could go back and manually, use that markup tool and mark those couple, since there's only like three of them, okay, three or four of them. I could manually go back and use my markup tool over here, okay, and mark those, if I wanted to, okay, without going back through the search, okay. All right, and then it adds it to the list down here, so I'm up to 32 now, if I wanted to. All right, I could just search again, but I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm just gonna go ahead and add the material here for tub. All right, 22,000 for my tubs there. All right, and then the last one I'll do is the shower here, and then we'll look at doing some areas. Okay, so I'm doing another image search for the shower, get rectangle. Surround it. Okay, search. Actually, I'm gonna drop my level sensitivity a little bit there. Search. All right. Searching. And once it finishes, we'll go through the same process. We'll select all of them, apply account. We'll get additional cost. What you'll notice is that it is keeping account of the total here. So let me scroll over a little bit. It is keeping account of the total of my cost so far, $52,000. All right, based upon all the markups that I've applied and the cost I've applied to them so far. Right. So there they are. I found 28 of them. It sounds a little low. It probably needs to be somewhere around the same as the number of tubs here. All right, but I'll go ahead and um, select all of them. Apply a count for a stand-up shower. Okay, you'll see it did miss a couple. So likewise, I changed my level of sensitivity, do another search on that one, and make sure I found all the showers there. All right. So my markup there for shower, just verify that it has the right subject. Okay, look at my properties, bathroom. Now it's coming in as toilet. This is actually shower, but it's really based upon the subject. So as long as that subject's correct, I can pull the right material. But just for clarity, we'll make sure we stand up shower. Okay. And now I'll go to my material. There's stand up shower, $14,000 for the shower. Okay, so let's look back at the areas. Okay, I made that one markup here for area for the building. So that's for the finished floor of the building. And for this one, we have the area of it. All right, but we're gonna say that this is a concrete slab. All right, so important for a concrete slab is going to be to look at the actual depth of the slab. Okay, so I have the depth column turned on here, and you can turn your columns on and off from what shows up down here by going over to markups here, going to columns, and then you can check or select or deselect items that you want to show up down there in your markups list or that you don't want to show up in your markups list. So I can turn things on and off, and so as long as I have depth turned on, okay, depth here, as long as I have it turned on, then what I can do is for that markup for that area, okay, the area is showing as 24,000 square feet, but I'll make the depth here read correctly, and it's in units of feet. I could change my units, all right, so that it was in inches, but instead I'm just going to call it an 8-inch slab. And since it's an 8-inch slab, that means that the depth of it in terms of feet is 0.6, is really 667 or 67 depth. So I just made that 0.667 depth. Okay. I also have my volume column turned on. So now the fact that I have 24,000 square feet and 8 inches of depth is giving me a volume of 16,594 there. Okay. All right, so that's showing my volume. And what I did for the concrete, all right, I created a custom column. So I'll go to manage columns here, look at my custom columns. I created a custom column called, under material, called concrete 8-inch, okay, and basically just looked at the amount, dollar amount in terms of square feet for an 8-inch depth, okay. So just kind of created a unit cost for an 8-inch depth concrete, all right. And you can agree or disagree with this depending on your industry, but I made it 179 per square foot. Okay, it may or may not be accurate, but that's what I gave it, and just called it 8-inch depth. So you can do the same thing for 12-inch or 6-inch or whatever your depth is for your concrete. And based upon the fact that I told it 179, all right, this markup here, this area markup, we just need to make sure that it's under the right subject. Okay, I could have created a custom area markup called under flooring, but I'm just going to go ahead and adjust that information to say flooring, and then this is going to be, I'm just going to give it a label of concrete. The big deal is that it says flooring because my concrete is under the subject flooring. Okay, so it has flooring there, and now that it has the subject flooring, which you can verify that by looking over here in the markup. Okay, I'll go ahead and I can click on material. So 8-inch concrete here. All right, and it's showing 44,000 square feet or $44,000 here for concrete. Okay. I also get an actual value that shows up here on my sheet for that area. Okay. If I adjust this line work for that area, it adjusts here. Okay. And it also adjusts in the markups list, and so therefore your cost adjusts as well. So it's all dynamic. So if I need to go through and adjust this line work, I can just move the line and it'll adjust for me. Okay. If I missed a section, like if I came through and I surrounded the whole building and then I went back and realized that this should be pavers, so I really don't need to account for that for concrete, then I could also add a control point here. So I'll just right click on the line. So I have the line selected, I right click and I can add a control point. Okay, so then that'll allow me to adjust my line work as well. Okay. If I had an extra control point, like that one actually came in on my pavers line, okay, I could also right click there and I could subtract a control point, and then it gets rid of that little control point there. Okay. So that was my concrete for my slab for the building, 8-inch concrete, and I came up with $44,000 there in cost. All right, I can go back and do the same thing for my pavers. Okay, so this area here, 1965 square feet for my pavers. I'll make sure it has the subject flooring as well, because I put my pavers in the area under the subject flooring. I'll just call it brick pavers just for clarity. And now I can look at that markup here. I'll look at the bottom down here, make sure I'm subject flooring for that 1965. And then I'll go back and I'll look at the material. Okay. And I've created a custom column for brick pavers. And so I can click on brick pavers. And then it's giving me $17,685 cost for my brick pavers. And as I mentioned earlier, the total cost is accumulating here. I'm at $128,000 in cost for the building so far. All right. I want to show you how to export these markups and these costs into an Excel sheet. But since we have a little extra time, I'm going to go ahead and throw in another measurement tool called Dynamic Fill. Okay, so if we have a circular area like this one, it has a curvature on it. Okay, I could go about looking for the area of that section just by going to my area tool and sort of surrounding that area. Okay, and putting me a little shape around it. Okay, when I get to the radiuses, I could actually just click on that line and I could convert to an arc here. All right, and sort of try to stretch and skew and get that line work to sort of work out. It looks like I probably need 2 arcs. All right, I could do that manually. All right, but Bluebeam has actually provided in Revu a way to do that a lot easier, and it's called Dynamic Fill. It can be found over in your tools and measure. Okay, Dynamic Fill. Also, depending on your profile, you can find it up here in your toolbar, Dynamic Fill. Okay, so what I'll do here, I'll click on Dynamic Fill. All right, it brings open this menu here. And then I'll click on Fill, and then I'll just drag my mouse into this area. Okay, so everywhere I want to fill, I'm going to drag my mouse and make sure that the green area covers that area. All right, so it's there. And then at the end, what I can do is decide what measurement tool I want to use. For this instance, we're going to use the area tool. So I can just click on the area tool here. Okay, and then I'll hit apply. All right. And so now it actually creates the line work for me, and it takes into account that radius, and it creates a multitude of control points around that circular area, and it gives me my square footage there. All right, so it's Dynamic Fill. All right, I can also take that area. This looks like it's a pool, so I could use concrete. I can make sure it had the right subject. It's probably a different thickness on concrete, so we probably want to specify the thickness. But I'm just going to go ahead and use what's there under my subject flooring. Okay, so I'm just going to go with that same 8-inch concrete here. Okay, concrete 8-inch. All right, and then I can get a cost there. Like I said, this is a pool. It's probably a different thickness there for that pool, but just to show you kind of how that would work, because it automatically puts that line work into my markups list. All right, so let's look at exporting these comments and these markups and these costs into an Excel sheet. All right, you have a couple ways to export. You can do a PDF summary. All right, that'll give you a summary of all these markups inside of a PDF. I can show you that if I have a little time here. But for this example, we're going to look at exporting them into an Excel file. And that Excel file for this instance is going to be a CSV summary. So the file type is going to be a CSV, but it's going to be where you can use it into Excel. So we'll click on CSV here. All right, it's asking me how I want to export these, so I can decide what columns I want to export. For this example, I probably don't really need like page index or lock or status or maybe check mark, but not, and maybe author. Depth's probably fine. I probably don't need color. Okay, I'll leave comment off because that's really the area. So look at there. Just a couple other things I can turn off. I've already turned some of them off just by turning my columns off. Okay, so some of them don't come in checked by default because they're not populated down here on my markups list. But let's see, I'll turn space off. I don't really need layer. Okay, so I'll just turn a couple of these things off. Okay, it's asking me where I want to export it to. So when I click on output, that's where the file is going to be stored, the Excel file. Okay, so I'm not really going to worry about that. But if I want to change the location, I could just click there and put it in a different location, like construction webinar. Okay. All right. And if it was a file there, I could overwrite, so on and so forth. So a couple different options in terms of how I want to export it. If I have multiple sheets here, I could export comments and markups just from certain sheets. Okay. All right. And then when I have this all the way I like it, if I export very often, then I could save this configuration where I don't have to uncheck columns and I don't have to change my preferences throughout here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. All right, so what it's doing is trying to export. Okay, it's opening up an Excel file. Okay, so Excel file opens up. It's got those columns that I selected that I wanted to export. Okay, dates and authors and so on. What we really care about is some of these measurements. So, some of the areas, those count measurements. That's what we care about. We also care about the values here. Okay. So it exported those values. All right. If you have the extreme version of Bluebeam Revu, then what you can do is you could actually tie these columns back to software. So this is an Excel file, but I can actually tie these back to the software. So for that area measurement for that concrete, all right, I can actually right click on it, and this option will be available if you have the extreme version to create a quantity link. Okay, so I'll go to quantity link there and create. All right, it's communicating with Bluebeam, and then I'll tell it which file I want to create a quantity link from. Okay, so I'll have to navigate to where this file that I'm working in is located. Okay, I'm in construction webinar, and it should be, this is the one. It does concern me that the date doesn't show up to date there, but I'll go ahead and hit OK. Okay, we'll hit OK again. Okay, now it's asking me what I want to bring in as the communication. What area of my markups do I want to actually utilize? So I'm going to go to area. Okay. I'm actually going to look at flooring. Actually, let me go to material here. So I have an option. I can go by material, which would be flooring. What's going to happen if I click on flooring, it's going to look at all the items of the markups under flooring. If I go to material, okay, it's going to look at all the items under whatever material I created. Okay. Caveat, I do have 2 areas listed under my concrete right now because of my bonus I gave you with the dynamic fill. Okay. So it's going to tally up both of those. Okay. If I click on this one, but I'm going to go ahead and click on it and then hit OK. Okay. So it actually tallied up the area of the pool, the 3,000 there, as well as the 24,000 here. Okay, so I added both of them up. So I'd probably want to distinguish between those two if I didn't want those tallied up together. All right, but the cool thing is that if I click on one of these areas, I can actually drag there, that control point. It'll update here. It updates down here, my markups list. But when I go back here, now keep in mind this is 25,000 and then also 3,000 here. So if I go back here, then now it's updated to 28,000 there because I adjusted that line work. So just kind of keep things where you can have your cost estimation in Excel, but then you can also have it directly tied back to your PDF to where if you have to make updates, even for instance, if you had to add, the number of columns that you found or what have you, then that can automatically update back to your Excel file. Okay. And that is with the extreme version of Bluebeam Revu that you get that option. All right, so that's what I wanted to show you, how to do custom markups, how you actually look at the properties here, change those properties, change the subject, how you add those custom items to your tool chest. Okay. Not only how do you add them to your tool chest, but how do you create a custom tool set in your tool chest? Okay, manage tools. You're going to create a custom tool set. Okay, then you can add these items to that tool set by add the tool chest. Okay, you can also add the tool chest over here in your properties section. So if that suits your fancy a little bit better, you go over here to add the tool chest there. Okay, and then you can also use those custom tools, okay, to do a count measurement for items doing a visual search. All right, and then you could apply cost to those items using your custom columns under columns, manage columns, in your custom columns, okay, which you create. And then those custom columns, as long as they have the right subject for these tools, okay, as long as your subject reads correctly, okay, for bathroom here, for example, then that gives you the ability to access your material. And then by accessing your material here, then you can actually do cost estimation, and it'll show you the total for those items. I'm going to open it up here, see if anyone has any questions. If you would put it in the chat, and I'll give you the ability to ask them in the chat, and then I can address them here with the last 7 minutes that we have. Any questions from the chat? Anyone have any questions? All right, if there are no questions, thank you guys for attending the webinar today. Like I said, I'm Corey Gaddy with TPM. We are a reseller for Bluebeam. We do training and support of the item, as well as we issue or help with issuing licenses. So if you guys have any questions about the software, just give us a shout. If you need anything in terms of purchases or upgrades, you can reach out to us for that as well. Thank you for attending, and you guys have a great rest of your day.